After the passage and signing of his major COVID economic relief plan, turning to politics here, President Biden is now unveiling more details on his next big agenda item. That's infrastructure. And he's looking to pay for it with a major tax hike on wealthier Americans. It comes as Republicans put forward their own counteroffer on infrastructure to that $2 trillion infrastructure plan that the president has. The GOP plan would cost an estimated $568 billion, and it focuses on traditional infrastructure like roads and bridges and airports and public transit. Wouldn't cover funding for electric vehicles or housing and some of the other priorities in President Biden's plan. So for more on this is the big debate right now here. Let's bring in our esteemed ABC News political director, Rick Klein. So, Rick, we've got this $2.2 trillion Biden plan and now the Republican $568 billion plan. That's a lot of daylight between the two of them. But that maybe means there's room for compromise somewhere in the middle. Well, what's the deal? What is the negotiations like ahead, and what do you think the chances are for something happening?
Yeah, this was just the first offer from Republicans. No one thinks that'll be the final document. The White House says it's a good faith effort. Of course, coming in at about a quarter of the price and losing a lot of what the Republicans would consider to be extraneous, but what the Biden administration says is actually vital for the modern workforce. That's a big difference, a big chasm between the two sides. Maybe bigger, though, are the pay-fors. The Republican plan rules out any kind of changes to the tax code, including any rolling back of the Trump tax cuts around corporations, around individuals. That's an enormous difference because that's key to one of the campaign promises that Joe Biden made. And of course, just if you want to do this kind of spending without adding to the deficit with hundreds of billions of additional spending, then you have to find some way to pay for it. And taxes are the way to go. So we've got this proposal out there. We have a bipartisan group in the Problem Solvers Caucus that has put forward at least a framework. And these are the stirrings, these are the rumblings that Biden needs because, frankly, he doesn't have the votes right now without some kind of bipartisan compromise.
And it makes those moderates, right, led by Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, Democrat, but sometimes right in the middle there, so crucial. So where are they and how influential do you think whatever moderates are on the Republican side, maybe Rob Portman of Ohio and the other Democrats, how influential are they and what do you think their role will be?
They're the key to all of this. Joe Manchin has said directly he is not going for a $2.3 trillion package. He says that's out the window. He doesn't like all the tax increases, and he doesn't like all the spending on progressive priorities that are, in his view and in the view of many Republicans, extraneous to the centrality of infrastructure. If it's about infrastructure, if it's about, like you said, roads and bridges and mass transit and the like, there is room there for bipartisan compromise. And not to minimize the price tag, north of $500 billion for Republicans to propose, they're saying that there's never been a Republican proposal of that magnitude in the past. And the fact is that Joe Manchin is a lot closer to this Republican group than he is to the White House group. And the Republicans know that, and they're taking advantage of that in this round of negotiations. Again, Biden needs them to come to the table. He needs the negotiating window to be open. And that is an encouraging sign on one sense, even though the two sides are very far apart. But you could see Manchin working with some of his Republican colleagues, bridging that difference.
It's nice to be Joe Manchin right now. Well, let's turn to electoral politics. Olympic gold medalist, former reality TV star Caitlyn Jenner announced that she is filing initial paperwork to enter the race for governor in California as a Republican. So what do you make of this?
This is quite a development, Terry, and it would add celebrity factor and then some into the race. People recall the Arnold Schwarzenegger successful recall, the only modern recall that was successful in the United States, and it took a celebrity and it took a lot of money to do that. This recall appears likely to head to the ballot for voters this fall in California, and Republicans so far hadn't had a high-profile recruit. This is a big one, but it also raises a whole host of interesting questions. First, Caitlyn Jenner's politics, beyond being a Republican, are a bit of a mystery. She hasn't really weighed in on issues other than trans-related issues, and that's where this gets really interesting. You have the distinct possibility, Terry, that the highest profile Republican running for office in 2021 is a trans woman, and perhaps the most prominent trans woman in the United States today. This is a Republican Party that at the state level is pushing to strip trans individuals of rights in all sorts of ways, an unprecedented push that's been coordinated throughout states. That's where the Republican Party stands in some of the reddest reddest parts of the country at this moment. So to have a Republican standard bearer potentially being Caitlyn Jenner is rather remarkable. It raises a lot of questions about how the Republican Party comes down on some of the issues that are central to her own political identity.
What a story. We'll look forward to your coverage over at ABC News Political Director Rick Klein. Thanks very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.